IELTS reading, which is matching headings. Let's have a look at 4 important steps you need to follow in this question type to answer it effectively. These steps involve reading all the headings, then reading the paragraph intensively, reviewing the headings, and finally choosing an answer. The first and very important step after skimming the passage is to quickly read all the headings. As you read, identify the keywords. Do not spend too much time on this because you might not use all the headings for answers. Pay attention to plurals. Why? Well, because, for example, the word differences tells you that the paragraph this heading matches to probably contains more than one difference. Okay, let's have a look at questions 1 to 5. Look at the following list of headings. Step 1 asks you to read through all the headings and identify the keywords. Note that the heading Cultural Variation in Learning Between Cultures has been crossed out, and that's because it has already been selected for one paragraph as per the instructions. Read the rest of the headings now and identify the keywords. Now compare what keywords you have identified with the sample answer. You may have chosen more or fewer words, but that's okay. Can you see any plurals? Once you have read the headings, you need to read the first paragraph or section. You need to read it carefully and in detail. As you read the paragraph, look for the keywords that you found in the headings. At this stage, you should also be thinking about what the main idea is. And remember, the main idea is often in the first sentence of the paragraph, but not always. Therefore, it is better to read the entire paragraph if you have time. Just a quick note that you should be aware of. In some reading tests, the passage is divided into sections rather than paragraphs, and a section can be longer than one paragraph. Let's practice step 2 using this example paragraph. Read the paragraph intensively, that means in detail, and identify the keywords or synonyms from the headings as you read. How did you go? Did you identify similar words from the highlighted keywords in the headings? It is okay if you did not find all of these, because every candidate may have slightly different choices. What do you think the main idea of this paragraph might be? Reading the first sentence or two will often give you the main idea. Now that you have identified the keywords in the paragraph, it's time to move on to the next step and review the headings. First, you need to look again at the paragraph headings to identify possible answers. Start by scanning the headings and comparing them to the main idea of the paragraph, and match similar keywords. Your aim is to eliminate irrelevant headings. So how do you review? First, it's okay to consider more than one heading as a possible answer and make the final decision later. It sometimes helps to ask yourself whether a heading could be the answer you need and say no, maybe, or yes. And you can do that while you are reading through the headings so that you can eliminate some. Now it's time to practice this step. When you are reviewing the headings, you need to think about the main idea of paragraph B. A keyword in the first sentence of this paragraph is diversity, and the second sentence mentions primary and secondary schools. So the main idea is probably related to diversity in education. Now let's eliminate some of the headings. Cultural differences in writing styles? Well, that's a no, as writing is not mentioned in this paragraph. Now consider primary and secondary school education. This one's a maybe. You need to be careful with this heading though. Primary and secondary are mentioned in the second sentence of paragraph B. But is this the main idea of the paragraph or just a supporting idea? If you're not sure, you can always leave it and make the final decision later. Implications for overseas students, academic writing styles, and international languages are all a no and can be eliminated because they are not relevant to the main idea here. However, it seems that the next heading, variation within a culture, is a maybe, as it contains the same keywords as the subtopic sentence. So let's leave that one for now. Well, what about variation in subjects taught? Well, specific subjects are not mentioned in the paragraph, so let's eliminate that one as well. And the word tertiary education is also not a good choice because the paragraph mentions primary and secondary school as well, which is not tertiary. The next heading, cultural variation in learning between cultures, has already been used for the example. So you can't use that one. That leaves with the last heading, changes in the British education system. The paragraph does mention British primary and secondary school, so it is worth considering as a maybe answer. But you are going to have to check the paragraph to see if there has been more than one change in the system. Well, now you are left with only 3 possible answers: primary and secondary school education, variation within a culture, and the last heading, changes in the British education system. There is no clear answer yet, so you need to decide. The final step is to choose an answer. As you have seen in the previous step, sometimes there are a few headings which contain the keywords from the paragraph. It is okay to read the paragraph again to check its main idea and the keywords. Then review the possible 2 or 3 headings again and decide on the final answer. So, what is the correct answer? In this example, diversity and variation have similar meanings, and the words within a single culture are mentioned in the paragraph as well. All the other sentences support this idea. There is a variation in teaching and learning between primary, secondary, and tertiary education levels in Britain. This means within one culture. The keywords in the other 2 possible headings are mentioned in the paragraph, but they are not the main ideas. After you have chosen a heading, you need to continue these steps with the remaining paragraphs or sections.